So today's tutorial will be on, it's called Emboss Resist, and what I've done is I have embossed this words on some designer series paper from the Sweet Pea collection, and I heat embossed it with Versamark and clear embossing powder, and then I used my brayer to color over it so the words would show out from underneath, and then you would get that nice little color differentiation from it. I'm going to show you how to do that. So first you take a piece of designer series paper, and I've taken this one because I like the stripes, and it will also show through even after I put some colored ink on it. So I'm going to use the word enjoy from the Enjoy Every Moment stamp set, and I chose it because the letters are thick enough that you can see some of the coloration when you've applied it. So first thing I'm going to do is use my Stamp-A-Majig to line up my word where I want it to be. Use my Versamark ink to ink up my letters. Now be careful that you don't get any Versamark on the inside, because the embossing powder will just stick to it and then it'll show up on your finished product. Now I use also a little bit of my embossing buddy just to remove the static and make sure that I don't get any excess embossing powder stuck to it. So I stamp the word, enjoy. Okay, and I know you can't see it, but it's there, so I have to work quickly to cover it with my clear embossing powder. And I keep mine in a separate container just because I find that it's easier to pour back in once I'm done. So now it's covered. Now I need to use my heat gun to melt it. And don't worry, you will be able to see the change when it happens, when it's fully melted. So I'll lift it up a little bit so you can see. Oh, I gotta plug it in first. That would certainly be a big help. I'm going to plug it in. Okay. I'm going to melt this. And you can start to see it shine through. I'm going to put it down because it's a little too hot for my fingers. You want to make sure that you don't overcook it, because if you cook it for too long, you could potentially set your paper on fire. So you want it to just be at the perfect amount where it just melts. So now I'm going to use my Close to Cocoa ink, and I open it up and I use my brayer tool. Again, I'm going to use the high density plastic roller, and I ink up my brayer by going in one continuous motion. I don't do this because that will only get ink on one part of the brayer, so either ink forward or ink backward. And you're going to continue to reapply the ink many times until you get the desired effect. Okay. And you notice that I'm going in one direction and the next because I want there to be an even amount of ink from each direction. And you can go up or down, it's up to you. It depends on how the lines turn out on your paper. The more ink you apply, obviously, the darker your project will end up. So you can choose to do it whether lighter or darker. And then to remove any excess ink that might just be sitting on top of the embossing powder, I just take a Kleenex and just lightly rub it off. And you'll see just a smidge came off, but that's enough to really make this letter pop. So that's the Emboss Resist. And then I'm going to go ahead and glue that to the front of my card, and I'm done with my project. So good luck and enjoy!